So guys, in this video we'll see how we have used MERN trainer, which is a custom GPT in the ChatGPT Plus model. So we'll see what it is, how responses are and what is it helpful or not. So I asked this model a question, like what's the best way to structure a React app. So the reply it has given is that to structure best way to structure a React app depends on whatever our project size, complexity of the project and team preferences. However, a well-organized structure improves the maintainability of the code, scalability, you can scale in future, and collaboration also. So it has recommended a structure that may work well for most projects. So the recommended structure is something like this, that we have a React app public directory for static files like index.html, images, etc. src for maintaining the main source code will be in this folder, and assets like images, fonts, styles will be stored in the assets folder. Components like reusable UI components, buttons, forms, etc. in components. Features, specific components and logic can be stored in this. Hooks can be custom React hooks in this folder. Layouts can store layout components like a navbar, sidebar, etc. Pages can include page components like home, about, dashboard, etc. Services can store API calls, external services, example Axios, and store can use to store state management like Redux, which is used to for state management in React. Stand, context API, etc. Utils can store utility functions like formatting or helper functions. App.jsx will include the main app component in the React project. Main.jsx for React DOM.render, which is the entry point for rendering React apps. .env, which will be in the main folder, will be having environment variables will be stored here. Package.json will be storing the dependencies which are required for that particular React project, and scripts, different scripts. And white.config.js will store the white configuration if we are using white in our React project. Webpack will be storing the Webpack configuration if we are using Webpack in our project. readme.md will be having the documentation, same as in GitHub we have readme.md file. So this type of structure says that it can be followed from most React projects, but it will be different if it depends on the project size, complexity, and whatever other requirements. And we also have to keep in mind the maintainability factor, scalability, and how we are going to collaborate within the team for that particular project. So it has also given us some detailed backgrounds of the folders, like it has given us the same thing which we just now saw. Best practices it has given that keep components small, reusable, and single purpose. It is reusable will help if we are developing a bigger application. It will help us even if we are developing a small application. Reusable components basically help us to maintain our code, scale it, as well as the maintenance becomes very easier. And if you want to add any further components in our project, then those components will not have to be developed from scratch. So that is best practice. Folder by feature scalability means instead of putting everything in components, group by feature. So it is saying that all the components should not be put in the components folder, but it should be grouped by using according to the feature name. Different, if there are 5 features, we can make 5 different folders, for example, for those different features. And it is also saying we should try to keep business logic separate, use separate services and hooks to separate API calls and logic from UI. That means services can be stored separately. So we can keep business logic separate, and we can use services folder for different services we are offering, and hooks folder for hooks. we can separate the API calls and services, and we can keep the logic uh, and UI separately. You can use absolute imports as well, like you can use like this format instead of using this, which is not so consistent and can create errors. So it has given an example component structure for a React app or project, and it says that in the components folder we can keep different folders for UI, user interface, form, a different folder, a navigation like navbar and sidebars can be different. Feedback can be kept in a different folder, and data display like tables we are using any cards or list in our website, we can use a different folder for those as well. Alternative project structures it has given, like it is given for a small project. So for a small project we can, like if we are using creating a simple project or a static website only, or a portfolio simple website or prototype, like scaling it as much, so we can use this structure, like we have this src folder, source folder where we can use components, pages, different folders, app.jsx main component and main.jsx. So we can use a simple structure formatting for the simple React projects, and for enterprise level, which can be monorepo or microservices based. We can use this structure like packages. We can use different front end, back end, and shared utilities. So, like in backend, backend folder can be used to store Node.js APIs. Frontend can be used to store reusable React app components, and shared folder gets stored shared utilities for like different types, constants, UI library, etc. You can use it for enterprise, and use this for large scale projects with multiple teams, this type of structure. So for conclusion, it is saying the generated reply from MERN stack trainer is saying that if you are just starting out, keep it simple, and as your project grows, adopt a feature-based structure for better organization and scalability. Would you like a real world example to explore? It is right, yes. Let's see how's the response it generates. Great, here are some well structured React repositories that follow best practices. So it has generated a few real world repositories like bulletproof React, Redux exam, essentials example, feature based structure. If you need a custom starter template for a specific project, React plus White plus Tailwind Redux, I can guide you. It is showing a great examples as well. Let's just check it. This was basically bulletproof React, best for large scale apps. Uses feature based structure, implements React queries, a standard TypeScript, follows scalable architecture patterns. Let's see the GitHub repository as well for that. So, so whatever response the MERN stack trainer GPT generated, let us see this. So this is a large scale project. It is saying bulletproof React. It is saying a simple, scalable, and powerful architecture for building production ready React applications. So this project is basically being used to give an example of how we can create simple and can be scaled for multiple users, and powerful architecture for building production ready React. So it is production ready React application structure. So here we can see that we if you see the workflows folder here, you can see different folders it has created for app, for pages. If you click on the React White folder, it has different mocks, E2E public, get ignore, index.html, It has TypeScript as well, right? Or configure TypeScript, JSON, and it has index.html page as well. SRC, if we go to SRC, you can see source folder as CSS, TypeScript checks, and testing features. It has different features here like permanents, discussions, teams, API, authorization components like login form and register form, TypeScript. So these are the different basic components. For much detail, we should be knowing the different React features as well in detail. So we will see in the so let's see the what is saying. It is saying that what makes a React application bulletproof. Easy to get started with, simple to understand and maintain, use the right tools for the job, clean boundaries between different parts of application, and a team can very much collaborate easily and secure, and scalability is good and issues detectable as early as possible. So this is the basic component.